Okay, hello. Welcome to my first ever cast of any game, and what a game it is! It's a Broodwar game. My name is Born to Pun. I just booted up Reddit today, and I saw somebody had posted. Actually, you can probably see up here. I have my Reddit tab open. I saw somebody had posted this game, Hiyaa vs. Mind, a TBT on Fighting Spirit. I have some extra time today, and I thought, why not download OBS? Download VLC because I actually just reinstalled Windows and didn't have VLC installed yet. Always good to have that program. Why not download these and give it a shot casting? So that's what I'm going to do here. This is my first cast ever of any game. Just to give you an idea of where I'm coming from, I used to watch a lot of Broodwar back in the day. I played a little bit. I was never good. You would probably, if it means anything to you, I was probably a D minus. Was there D minus on iCup? Did it go straight from E to D? I wasn't good, let's put it that way, but I watched a lot, and I used to love. I remember back in the day when it was hard just to find English casts of games, and I used to love when I did find them. So I thought it'd be fun to give it a shot, try my hand at it, and here we go. So without any further ado, this is going to be the cast of the game. So again, this is Hiyaa vs. Mind, TBT on Fighting Spirit. If you don't know the map Fighting Spirit, it's a big 4-player map. It's pretty macro-oriented. So we have Hiyaa, and this is a first-person view because this is captured from him streaming it, which is not ideal. It's obviously better when you have a dedicated observer watching both sides. But it's fun to watch first persons as well. So you can see he's down here in this corner, and the way Fighting Spirit works is each corner kind of has 3 bases that are fairly easy to defend. So it often turns into 3-base macro games, and especially with the TBT, I would expect both players to end up taking their thirds relatively safely. Hiyaa and Mind were both. I wouldn't call them elite players. They certainly weren't flashes or fantasies, but they're both solid players from back in the day. And it's nice to see that they're still playing a little Broodwar today. That the scene hasn't totally died. And actually, in some ways, it's sort of been coming back a little bit, which would be awesome if it did. Because Broodwar was just such a great game. StarCraft 2 is a great game too. I'm not trying to start anything here between, which game's better. They're both great games, but Broodwar will always hold a special place in my heart. It's just such a fantastic game. So here goes Hiyaa. He's looks like he's gonna go. Okay, no, there goes the barracks. Oh man, I haven't played Broodwar in so long that even my build order, I can't remember them that well, but it's starting to come back to me as we do it. If you're expecting a really high-level commentary, a really high-level analysis, turn off the video now. This is going to be more of a basic level commentary slash shoutcast. I'll try and make it exciting for you guys. I expect it'll be exciting in its own right, but it's not going to be the highest level analysis. Just want to throw that out there. So he's taking his racks, taking his gas. I think this means he's going to go factory before CC. And he's also scouting. And you can see he's scouting the top left, move over to the top right because that's empty. Getting his first Marine out. And going... Okay, he's going engineering bay. What? I wish I knew more about the builds. 2 years ago or 5 years ago, I knew what this meant. Nowadays, I can't remember if this is standard or if this is weird. I want to say it's weird because why would you get your engineering bay in a TBT? In TBTs, you don't really go bio, you go mech. So he needs to get that factory out and start making tanks eventually. You can see that Mind. Is it Mind he's playing? I think he's playing Mind. Mind's got his CC going up in his natural. And they are cross positions, which will lend even more towards the macro style late game play. I'm wondering And again, I apologize that I just don't remember the build orders that well, but I'm wondering if this... Oh, it wasn't an engineering bay, it was a factory. Why did I think that was an engineering bay? Okay, this makes a lot more sense. He's getting his factory. He's doing a factory fast expand. This makes total sense. Okay, I'm back. I apologize for that sort of... I don't know why. I would have sworn that he was putting down an engineering bay there. Getting the Vulture out. For those of you that don't know, Vultures are fast, speedy harass units. You can actually micro them in a way that basically makes it so that they can shoot while moving. It's sort of a very accelerated stutter set micro. It's not too hard to do, but obviously if you're trying to do a bunch of other things at once, it's very APM intensive. And that was one of the most fun units to watch in Broodwar, in my opinion, was Vultures. They're also upgradable to get mines, and if you get that upgrade, each Vulture can then lay 3 mines, which are kind of these crazy, units. They kind of tend to bug out, and they're unpredictable, but they're very powerful, and they're great for map control and scouting and all that. So you can see he just tried to poke him with the Vulture there. He saw the bunker. If you go CC before factory, which I think mine did here, then that bunker really helps just to defend at your choke. So right now, mine is a little ahead economically, but Hiyaa is ahead in tech. He's throwing up starport, so he may go into something like Vulture drops. He needs to get that add-on of the control center. What's it called? What's the starport add-on called? Control tower, I think. He needs to get that up before he can make a dropship, so he's likely going to go tank drops here with mines and try and get some SCV kills. That would be my guess. Because you don't make bio in TBT, you just make factory units, the Raxes are often lifted and used for scouting, and you can see both players doing that here. You do need a barracks in order to make a factory, so if you can snipe through the player's barracks, then they have to build another one, which is a small win. It's not that big of a deal. It's just minerals, and obviously in mech, it's gas that's more important than minerals. So you can see these Vultures scouting around the map. They're placing mines everywhere. This is going to give him great vision, and he'll always know when mine is moving out with a dropship. A dropship will get scouted by those. Any sort of weird expansions, those will help scout. So they're really great for map presence for kind of keeping tabs on your enemy. Here comes the dropship. We're probably going to see him load up these Vultures into it, and then try and get. And there goes 1, 2, 3, and 4. So it's full. We'll see him try and get those into the enemy mineral line, pick off SCVs. They can kill SCVs quite quickly. I think it takes 3 shots from a Vulture to kill a worker. Oh, and here comes the Vulture harass from mine. So great timing on that wall off. And he's got the tank, so he will be able to defend this quite easily. Vultures are very weak in head-to-head combat with pretty much any other unit in the game, and tanks are no exception to that. Tanks will absolutely dominate Vultures. So he's getting in there. He's going to drop his 4 Vultures. Mind, of course, kind of knew this was coming, or it wasn't totally unforeseeable. So he ends up not doing much damage. One thing about these builds is that because players don't have Marines, they have no anti-air. So he can just fly around and get a really good scout. Even though he wasn't able to actually do any damage, he can still just use that dropship as pretty much a free scout. He sees everything that his opponent is doing, getting his armory up for his own upgrades. And I wonder if we'll start to see some more factories go down now and start ramping up that production. Now that he's got decent SCV saturation, he can make those ComSat stations, which allow you to scan. You don't have orbital commands in Broodwar. All you can do is make a ComSat add-on, which only lets you scan. There's no mules or anything. It just lets you scan. But other than that, it works the same way as a scan in StarCraft 2. So he's still being really active with these Vultures, which you'd love to see. He's putting mines everywhere. Sorry, I thought I saw something on the minimap there. Maybe it was just a scouting unit of some sort. But like I said, he's still being active with these Vultures, which is so good. Ooh, don't lose the dropship though. One thing that good players do with their units, especially fast units like the Vulture, is they constantly use them. And here comes out a... Oh gosh, what is the flying unit called for Terran? I want to say it's called a Wraith. Almost positive. Yep, okay, it's a Wraith. For some reason, I wasn't sure about that. That's going to give him air control. The thing about siege tanks in Broodwar, and I think this is the same in StarCraft 2, is they can shoot farther than they can see. So if you control the air, then you can scout with your barracks or with your Wraith, and your siege tanks become stronger than their siege tanks because they can't see you, but you can see them. So you're always getting the first shots off. So building one Wraith, it can be really powerful if it gives you that edge. Actually, when Brood War sort of started declining as SC2 was rising, there was sort of a new meta in TBT where players would just go tons and tons of Wraiths, and there was a lot of games where Wraiths, which had never really been built in TBT in any substantial number, were starting to be built into the tens, and you would see huge Wraith battles, and then players started building Valkyries, which are the air-to-air counter to Wraiths. They're really good at shooting down big groups of enemies. And so it was sort of disappointing that as a new meta was developing, SC2 came in and kind of wiped out the scene. But, you know, that's life. So this is sort of standard TBT here. Both players have their bases up, they're taking thirds, and they're establishing lines of tanks. And they're sort of drawing their lines in the sand, saying, you're not going to be able to cross this, you're not going to be able to break me, unless you want to trade really cost inefficiently. We'll probably start to see a couple Goliaths mixed in. Goliaths are produced out of the factory, and they are ground to air. They're great for combating drops, combating Wraiths, anything like that. But the core of the army is going to be the tanks, with a couple Goliaths mixed in maybe here or there, and Vultures are a great mineral sink. They can dart around, place mines, and give you more map control that way. And you can see he scanned there and saw a bunch of, I think he just scanned and saw some of mines as well. It's hard to say. Of course, you can't see mines unless you have scanned or have a science vessel. Let's see, what can I be talking about here? It's really hard to keep up with a first-person view. These players just move so fast. Okay, there's the engineering bay. He didn't build the 2-minute engineering bay as I originally thought, but it finally goes up. That'll let him build turrets, which also help fortify your lines, your tank lines against drops, and give you vision against Wraiths, and also help you kill the Wraiths. At this point, both players are just kind of in macro mode. Nobody wants to really walk into the other player's tank line because you'll just die. Tanks are absurdly strong. So this is kind of a waiting moment in the game. They're kind of both probing at each other, but no one wants to really engage head-on. Getting Vultures behind your enemy's lines, getting his scouts off is important, but mostly it's a macro battle right now. And it's saying who can claim more of the map before the other player gets there. Because once battle lines are drawn in TBT, they're hard to break. So he's got some Vultures up here. These will actually do quite a bit of damage. They'll get a good amount of SCVs. And then there's a Goliath right there, in case you didn't know what one looked like. Getting those turrets up, getting more armories for upgrades. Really doing all the things that a macro player needs to be doing. Looks like he's making 3 tanks and 4 Vultures at a time. That's pretty good production. He is on 3 base. I would expect him decently soon to be thinking about taking a 4th. I don't think I've seen a CC go down yet, but it's possible. And you can see, I can use my mouse. I think OBS will detect my mouse. So if you guys can see it right here, he's really just drawing this giant line of tanks, turrets, and some Vulture mines across the sands. And this is he's staking out this as his territory. And I'm sure that Mind has his own line somewhere back here, maybe even right in the fog of war, doing the same thing. And both players are kind of trying to get drops around of Vultures, dart Vultures by, but for the most part, this is the front line of battle. It looks like he may be preparing a force to try and go around, but nope, he scans right here. He sees there's a lot of red. You don't want to go in there. Even a few tanks would just repel any attack pretty easily. Getting the science facility up, that is a precursor to battle cruisers. So in a game like this, you always want to be aware that a battle cruiser transition is possible. It's probably a little early for it right now, because it's very costly. It takes a lot of time. You probably don't want to do it until he has another base with another gas going up, but that is a possibility. He's rotating a lot of troops around here. He's scanning. He's trying to find a weakness, and it looks like thinks he's found it. So he's moving in. There are a good amount of tanks here, but he should be able to break this. The question is, will he do it cost efficiently? There's the vulture backup, and yeah, he's gonna take it. He's gonna. Oh wow, there goes there goes all Mind's tanks. So he's now just earned himself a little map presence. You see that Mind has a lot more red back here, so I don't know if he'll be able to. He's gonna try and move up and siege this base here. Actually, it looks like he will be able to get up there and start sieging. If you can just get one siege tank in range of that CC, then you force it to lift or force him to repair, and it's really a pain in the butt for them. Mine's options right now is, so he's reinforced here, he's got some tanks, and he may counterattack around this side. It looks like he's scouting with the Rex. So keep an eye on the minimap. This is always one thing that a Terran player in the situation has to decide. Do I try and break back against this, which is, look at how many tanks are. This is going to be so hard to break. Or do I leave just a couple tanks here to try and defend a little bit and then move around here and counterattack? It looks like he's trying to take back some of the space. He's got some lines up, those got tanks pretty well. So he does some damage here, but he hasn't broken really the core of this army, which is still there, although he has pushed it back enough that he has this base sort of protected now. Drink some water. Man, even the Broodwar sounds are just so great. I like to just kind of sit here and listen to them. It's so delightful. You saw the turret line there. Really, in TBT, when you were going mech, you have so many extra minerals that you're just trying to find things to dump them into. And vultures are one mineral dump, and turrets are another mineral dump. So, if there are any drops coming down this side, they will be in a little bit of danger with 5 turrets there. They'll probably just die. And you can see Mind has turrets of his own as well. He got some units in here. It's not too much. He'll force Mind to bring some units to shut it down, but this isn't going to do anything. Although there's an expansion he'll shut down, and that's a medium-sized win. So both players are now going up to their 5th bases, it looks like, and you can see the map sort of splitting this way. So it's kind of turning into a horizontal split. And it's pretty even right now as far as map control goes. They both have about half the map. I'd say Hiyaa is a little farther onto Mind's side, so he's a little ahead in that regard, but as long as you have your setup somewhere far enough away from your bases that they're defended, you're going to be fine. That's quite a few wraiths there. Was that 3 wraiths? So we may see Hiyaa come out with sort of a wraith anti-tank force, get cloak on those, and try and snipe some tanks. Try and dodge in and out of the turrets, in and out of the Goliaths, and just start sniping tanks. It's hard to do, but if done well, it can become very powerful. Did he just... It looked like he might have started some upgrade of his own, so he may be going wraiths of his own. Ooh, he can snipe some of these dropships, that's a decent win. And he has Hiyaa has enough tanks here to take this battle. Yeah, so you can see he's starting to fear the wraiths, and he's building more Goliaths of his own. Goliaths will really dominate wraiths in a one-on-one fight or in head-to-head combat. The advantage of wraiths is that they're faster and that they have cloaking, and they can sort of be microed like mutalisks, darting in and out, grouped up, and sniping a unit here and there. And of course, if you can just snipe 1 or 2 tanks in a tank line, you can sometimes open up a vulnerability that wasn't there, and then move in with your whole army. And you can see these players are engaged in sort of this chess match of tank lines, constantly sieging, unsieging, moving forward to see weaknesses. Here they go. It looks like Hiyaa is going to break here, although he might lose quite a bit in the process. Uh, we'll see. He's sort of making me eat my words so far. He looks to be doing a pretty efficient job of this. Sniping a dropship, sniping another dropship? I'm not sure. I don't think he got that one. Still macroing quite well. And I should do a better job of keeping track of the upgrades on these players. Looks like Hiyaa's on 1-2. And I would like to see what Mind is on, so I'll try and keep an eye out for that. But frankly, these players move so quickly with their APM that it's just hard to keep up. If anybody's wondering why he goes back to his base, it's because he has to do that to macro. In Broodwar, you can't hotkey all your barracks or all your factories to one hotkey and then macro them that way. You have to go back and do them one at a time. So you could hotkey 9 factories to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and macro that way, but that would use up all your hotkeys. So the way players do it is they actually hotkey at their location with all their factories, go back, and then they individually click them and click the hotkey for whatever unit they're building. He's got a really nice Vulture run by here, taking out some SCVs. Of course, it's really the gas at this point that's important. The gas is what you need to build all the tech units, to build tanks, wraiths, dropships, Goliaths even, and battlecruisers if you want to go to battlecruisers. So sniping gas SCVs is really helpful. Minerals really don't matter as much. Both players are pretty much comfortable with their minerals. And he's loading up a drop of his own. Looks like it's mostly Goliath with a few tanks sprinkled in. And we'll see where he takes this. So Mine's got one of those. He's got one of those Wraith task forces that we were talking about earlier. He's got one of those out and pretty active. And if you don't have turrets up or you don't have Goliath in the area with scan to back it up, then these Wraiths are just gonna have free reign. They can just shoot your tanks, and they don't kill them that quickly. But if nothing's killing the Wraiths back, they will kill them all eventually. And that's something that the players have to be consistently kind of on top of the game on. So he's got some Goliaths in the area, and once the Goliaths are there, they really dominate the Wraiths. So in that sense, the Wraiths aren't very strong. We got quite a few dropships here. Look like there are 7 dropships for Mind and only 5 for Hiyaa. You do see late game TBT sometimes turn into just battle of the drops because it's so hard to break tank lines, especially once all the turrets are up and all the mines are up, that you really can't walk into it. So players will load up sometimes huge amounts of army and just drop it in the other player's base or on the other player on their army. So that drop style is very common. You can see Hiyaa doing a really nice job of constantly scanning to know where Mind's tanks, to where his dropships are. If you can get everything set up and get there in time, it's pretty easy to deflect a drop. What the dropship player wants to do is get somewhere you're not expecting or where you're not ready for it, drop all of his tanks, siege up, and then he has the defender's advantage. But Hiyaa's pushing forward pretty well here, and he is looking like he kind of wants to go for the kill. He's won enough small skirmishes, I think, that he's saying, look, you don't have a tank line right now, you don't have anything defending this, I'm just going to walk up to your front door and kill you. So Mind is forced to draw back, siege all his line, and it looks like he might just lose here. He doesn't have that much. He's got a good amount of Goliaths, but a very low tank count, and you need those tanks in TBT. He's only got 2 tanks right now. I really wish I could see his supply, but it feels like it's got to be low, like around 100 or something. Hiyaa's just going to leave a few tanks here to hold this line, and then move over and start killing all Mind's bases. And Mind is actually in a lot of trouble. I didn't really realize how much trouble he was in until those tanks were at his front door. And that's kind of how TBT works, you know? If you don't do a good job of defending your ground, then you lose it, and it's so hard to take it back. I don't know how much time is left in this game. I'm going to try not to look, just so we don't get spoiled, but it feels like this game could end relatively soon, or it may turn into more of a slow chokehold of a game, where... Oh, and this may be the battlecruiser transition. We got 3, 4, 5, 6, looks like, starports going up, and this feels to me like it's going to be battlecruisers, so... We'll see if he gets that physics lab on his science facility, and that would really confirm that he is going battlecruisers. I mean, at this point, he's already got a couple. I think he already has 2 starports, or is it just 1, which is enough to build his dropships. He doesn't need 6 starports for dropships. So it's either battlecruisers or maybe it could be race, but I feel like it's BCs. he's still just zooming around the map, being active. Yeah, put some guys in gas there, man. You need that gas. Especially if you're going to go BCs, you need all the gas you can get. This is a kind of, not desperate, but it's not probably not going to work. This counter drop from mine. He just doesn't have that many forces, and I think he lost one dropship just getting here, maybe. A really nice counter drop. If you don't have the Goliaths, this is what Hiyaa can do. You can just take your dropship and drop literally on top of their tanks, and their siege tanks can't fire, and you just wipe out their forces. That was sort of, I feel like that may have been the deciding point in this game. Hiyaa had a small force. Sorry, Mind had a small force, and he had to do something with it. He tried, and it just didn't work. And I feel like he's kind of now pretty much going to lose. I wouldn't say it's completely over, but I'd say Mind is now definitively in control of this game. Sorry, Hiyaa is in control of this game. I keep getting them mixed up. I apologize. If you look around the map, you can see he has so much map control. He has so much vision. He's up. I think he's up by one base. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 to 5, I believe. And he's preparing that BC switch. And I just don't know what Mind can do at this point. He's just gonna get out macroed. If he builds Wraith to kill the BCs, and I think he scouted the BCs by now, or scouted the starports. If he builds Wraith to counter those, then he's just gonna die to Goliaths and tanks. Although, you know, now that I've been talking about it for a few minutes, maybe that's not a BC transition. I mean, we haven't seen the physics lab yet, right? You know what it may have been? That may have been a defensive 6 starports. I think that maybe what Hiyaa was thinking is Mind might just start building mass wraiths to try and break my tanks. I'm going to build some starports, so if he does do that, I can make a counter defense quickly. You know what? That must have been what it was, because he's not making BCs here. Or maybe he was thinking about making BCs until he won that sort of small skirmish down in the bottom right base, and then now he's saying, I don't need BCs to win this. I can win this with tanks. Oh no, I'm wrong twice. He's actually building mass wraiths of his own. These are going to be great for sniping dropships. For sniping Mind's dropships, making sure Mind doesn't get out of his base. Oh, this is risky. He's going to lose some of the dropships getting in. That was actually pretty risky. It looks like he's still going to work. And frankly, he can afford to make these inefficient trades because he's so far ahead. But that wasn't a great engagement for him. He lost a lot of the dropships going in. And he's sort of popped over here to the top left, and this is really Mind's most important base right now. It's been Mind at the least. If he loses this, he's really going to be in dire straits financially speaking, economically speaking. He's just not going to be able to support enough production. He's doing a good job hanging in there, you know. Oh, but here it is. This is the big dropship snipe, and he's going to lose 1, 2, 3, 4 dropships at the cost of, I don't think he even lost a single wraith there. And if he did, he's got plenty more in his back pocket. So that was another killer blow. You know, the one thing that was keeping Mind in this base in this game was his dropships, because he's lost control of the center of the map. He can't walk anywhere in his map. He has to move with his dropships. So if you snipe 3 of those, which he just did, you really cripple his ability to move around. And in TVT, when your units are so immobile, if you can't drop them somewhere, you're just going to lose because you can't get to places to defend them, especially against a player who has complete map control. Yeah, and this is really game over for Mind. He's going to try and hold on. He's making a valiant effort of it, but he's going to lose all these tanks to these wraiths. He can just call it GG here. Just really, he's going to make one final attempt here, but there's so many mines. There's just a couple tanks in behind. This is going to be kind of a bloodbath, I think. And you can see all that red disappeared in the mini-map in that skirmish. It's all gone. There's nothing left. You know, this is really game. He's just he's going to lose all this army now. It's a valiant effort. Bye-bye. He just needs to snipe the dropships. There it is. GG. Good game.
수고하셨습니다.
I wish I knew Korean. I knew what he was saying. So that was my cast. That was a TBT on Fighting
우리
Spirit.
배너배님 100개 선물. 야.
Well, he's happy with it.
우리
I'm happy for him.
배너배님께서 100개 선물 감사합니다. 당신은 내 마음의 100점 잘 쓸게요. 우리 배너배님 감사합니다.
I like to think he's
고맙습니다.
saying what a good job of
잘
casting
쓰겠습니다.
I just
고마워요.
did.
감사합니다.
So, hope you enjoyed this
이메일맨저
cast.
드림
If you have feedback, leave it in the comments
감사합니다.
below. I'd be open to doing another one if anyone really wants me to. But I really just wanted to do this one for fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is Born to Pun, signing off.